Okay, today's video is kind of different from what I typically talk about. I say that a lot, I won't lie. I say that a lot. I guess I just covered very wide variety of topics. I don't know. But today's video is not something I typically talk about. It doesn't fall in the typical category of I don't know, self-help and dating and all that kind of stuff. It's kind of, I'd say it's more of my own opinion. And I mean, you could argue that a lot of my videos have been also my opinion based on my experiences. But this is something that I guess still kind of fits in that category, but it's debating about something that's been used to define a group of people for a while, and it's, well, performative men. Now, what do you think of as somebody who's a performative man? Maybe he's somebody who he likes to drink matcha and he reads at the library and he brings, tote bags wherever he goes, and wears, I don't know, loafers and jean shorts and white socks and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying here. I'm pretty much just defining your stereotypical performative man. And that's just kind of the baseline of it. I mean, performative men, I feel like they fit into... It can be really anything, honestly. But I guess the way I perceive performative men, I don't really know much about them. This is kind of just my viewpoint on it. It's... I don't know. It feels like a way to just call somebody pretentious and say they're trying to be someone they're not. And I feel like in some scenarios it definitely is. People are trying to dress up a certain way to, well, appease women, really. To try and get their attention, There's the whole thing about, dudes reading at a coffee shop to try and, get people to think they're cool by reading said book about feminine literature. I don't know, something along those lines. Again, I don't know much about this kind of stuff, and maybe I'm a little behind here on the whole performative man baseline stereotypes and whatnot. But that's what I get for the general vibe of how people would describe them. And I don't like calling people or any men performative because there's some dudes who just like to dress like that. There's some dudes who've been dressing like that before the whole performative man, name insult became relevant, excuse me. It's kind of just, I don't know. I feel like it's calling somebody a name, and that name oversteps its boundaries a little bit. Because I've just said, there's definitely people who are that way, who are pretentious in that sense and are trying to appease everybody around them. They're people pleasers pretty much, who, the way they dress and the way they act and the things they do and carry around do not represent them at all. But they're trying to get people to think that. But then there's actually people who are really like that. And I think it's unfair to fit those people in that same kind of category because they're not the same kind of person, They actually like this stuff. And there's plenty of people that do. There's plenty of people that like to dress that way or carry tote bags around or drink matcha, People villainize these things and make dressing like that or enjoying any of this stuff, they make it seem like it's a pretentious thing, They make it seem like it's bad. Now, if you're this kind of person, shame on you. You should be horrified of your decision making. What you're doing is completely wrong, and I think it's kind of unfair to fit everybody in that category just because they enjoy said thing. I know plenty of people that enjoy matcha, and they don't dress at all like that. Again, I know plenty of people who wear tote bags around, who are men, that, don't like matcha or dress like that. They just like tote bags. And, you have your people who just like to dress like that, and they don't enjoy the latter, You can't just fit everybody into one category because they fit one of the descriptions, They have one of the said qualities that might be considered to call them a performative male. And that's not fair. You know? Like, when did it become wrong to enjoy something? You know? I feel like this is something I see people talking about more and more and more on YouTube and whatnot. I've seen plenty of videos like people just, you know, putting others down and whatnot for shit they enjoy, simply put, and making it seem like having a hobby is just like, I don't know, bad, pretty much. That there's everything wrong with that. And I guess to a certain extent I understand where they're coming from, in the sense that, like, people nowadays with certain hobbies make it seem like you have to be making an obscene amount of money off of these hobbies. Now, every hobby that you have has to be like an opportunity to make a lot of money instead of something you enjoy. And I feel like, in this extent, that performative men can be kind of shuffled into this category a little bit. Of, like, you know, they enjoy these things because A, they want the approval of other people, or two, they're trying to make money by, I don't know, having this kind of persona. I don't know how to explain it, but you get what I'm saying, right? Like, when did it become wrong to enjoy these things? When did it become wrong to have your own individuality and like something? I like plenty of things, you know? I like to dress formally and whatnot. You know, I am all about the formal attire, or the formal core kind of, you know, fashion stuff. Like, that's just me. That's just what I enjoy. And is there something wrong with that? Hell no. Like, you dress however you want to dress, man. Like, stop scrutinizing people for liking something. Like, nobody is by any means wrong for having genuine enjoyment in something. Like, bro, why? Why you gotta judge somebody for liking matcha? Sure, it might taste like grass, and I personally don't understand how some people can enjoy the taste of grass, but, like, you know, some people like it, and that's totally cool. You know? I hate it, but if you like it, good for you, bro. Good for you. You know? If you like wearing tote bags around and wearing earbuds that still have the wires on them, I mean, good for you, man. Just, if you're gonna wear that kind of stuff, or do that kind of stuff, do it for you, you know? Don't do it because TikTok told you to. If you actually like wearing that kind of stuff and drinking matcha and being an avid enjoyer and those kinds of things, do it for you, bro, and stop trying to do it for other people, you know? That's the biggest mistake you can live in life, or one of them, I should say. But it's one of the biggest mistakes you can make by trying to, you know, wear or do something for others, bro. Because that's not you, man. Why would you ever change up for somebody else? You know, this applies to relationships too. Like, if someone that you're trying to get with is trying to change you and make you be a certain way, get the fuck out of there, bro. Get out of there ASAP. Don't ever change up on somebody, or don't ever change up for somebody, I should say. Never do that. Like, that's horrible. Because it strips you of your individuality and turns you into a clone, pretty much, or a robot. And who wants to be a robot, dude? Nah, bro. You see, the world we live in is so good because everyone's so different. If we were all the same, this life we live would suck. I mean, think of the movie like iRobot, dude. Would you want to end up as one of them, bro? As like a bunch of robots who look the same, sound the same, talk the same, have the same kind of vibe, you know, like the same kind of things? Like, what kind of world would that be, bro? It'd be a pretty terrible one if you ask me. I don't think anybody watching this video or altogether would ever want to live in that kind of world. So my biggest takeaway is, like, you know, if you're going to be into that kind of stuff, there's no shame in it, first of all. But if you do enjoy that stuff, then genuinely enjoy it. Actually be somebody who appreciates those things and, you know, straight up likes them for what they are. And don't just do it for the internet culture. Don't do it because TikTok told you to. Don't be brainwashed by social media in that sense. And, you know, be like everybody else. No. Dress how you want, for you and not for them. Simply put. So, that's all I really have for today, to be honest. So, As always, take care.